Hey, I hope you all are doing all right. My name is William. I will be talking about my ethnographic interview. And I decided to do my interview on three different aspects of Muslim culture. It was hard for me to narrow it down to just one Muslim culture, and since Muslim cultures were kind of what I had the most experience with, I was having difficulty finding something else to do it on. So since I had difficulty finding a wide pool here where I currently live, I decided to focus on three that I knew I could get interviews with. One being my Iraqi friend who I work with. The second culture, Muslim culture I looked at was Uzbeki. Um, and those two of those people I met during my travels abroad, and then the third culture I looked at was Uyghur, who also my friends there I also met abroad as well. So these three cultures are all Muslim, and they are all unique and different in their own ways, but also very similar in ways as well. Um, for instance, all of these cultures had a very strong tie to family. It's one thing that almost every single one of them um, just they they felt it very strongly, even almost over religion, if you believe that. That was a difficult thing to maneuver because for them, religion and family were so closely intertwined. For for one of my friends, he was in the political sphere. His family was in the political sphere, and his family was the main reason why he was doing everything. Not necessarily for religion's sake, though that was a huge thing. You'd never hear him say it wasn't for Allah, it wasn't for the Quran, but you could tell that his family had a huge influence on what he did. That was my friend from Uzbekistan. And secondly, my friend from my Iraq, like the very first thing he wanted to talk about was his family. Just fascinating. And the same thing for my friends from Xinjiang, my Uyghur friends. They all had very close ties with their family, and they had a huge influence over what they said, what they did, what they wanted to do in the future. Another one of their just very common ties are their what they have in common is their religion and their tradition. So oftentimes their traditions actually seem to line up a lot, and this seems to be more along the lines of their holidays, whether if it's fasting or if it's just the normal holidays that most Muslims participate in. It's just very cool seeing those traditions carried across all three of those cultures pretty regularly. All of my friends fasted, and they were all really grumpy doing it. But it was just cool seeing that as a very, very universal thing. Again, another universal thing for them was they all believed drinking was wrong, yet all of them drank, and quite heavily, some of them. That just seemed to be one of those things that they felt like they could get away with. Not eating pork, however, that was a big thing they couldn't do. Again, that's a universal thing. Their religion, like, kind of ties in with tradition. That was also a huge thing for them. Those three things are kind of like the core for all three of them. Their traditions might differ a little bit. Um, how they practice their religions might differ a little bit, and even their family's importance might differ just by a little bit. But those three things, over all of those three different cultures, were the most important things for them. Um, I found this really fascinating because there were a lot of different. My friend from Iraq, the reason why his family was so important was because the government absolutely sucked. Um, he would flat out say that. And so for him, his tribe, his extended tribe, not just his family, his extended tribe, the Kurezi tribe, which is one of the major tribes in Iraq. One of the original, what was it, seven? But yeah, so for him, his tribe was the most important thing in the world, even over government. The government couldn't have a say in that. And the same idea was for the Uyghurs as well. The government that they are under, they feel mildly oppressed by. And so their family and their Uyghur culture is so important to them. My friend from Uzbekistan, a little bit different. Culture is still very important, and tradition and religion is very important, but family is the highest thing for him because he is trying to put politics and the country first. At least that's what he says. And because of that, um, the people, the tribe, the culture is not always first in his mind. So that was the biggest difference I saw among all of those. There are a lot of smaller differences, like dress and minor traditions, like what they eat and all like that. But for the most part, I found that they had much more similarities than I first thought. Um, and it was really cool to see their commonality, even across all those different spheres, just the things that they had in common, as well as just the small differences as well. Just thank you for taking the time to listening to this.